Hello, my name is Shane Gagnon, and this is my presentation on mineral economics for geology for the spring 1403 V01. Alright, so we'll get started on what is, so the topics covered will be what is mineral economics, the history of it, where we stand today, and the future of mineral economics. So, what is mineral economics? Mineral economics is the academic discipline that investigates and promotes the understanding of economic and policy issues throughout different elements and different things that we use throughout the country. Silicon being one of them, feldspar, all those different types of minerals. We may not always have those minerals here, or we may have already depleted a lot of the resources that we used to have. So now we have to outsource to other countries that may have plentiful, or we may do a trade with minerals that we have an abundance of here versus what they have a lack of there. Sometimes it's a trade, and then sometimes there is money involved. Some of its origins can be tracked, mineral economics origins can be tracked over 200 years ago in the writings of David Ricardo. That's the picture we have all the way there to the left. My right, your left. But the bulk of it comes from World War II, when they had to recycle and do scrap metals, and when a lot of the resources were being depleted. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. And all of the people that are responsible are researchers, and then there were even schools that were created for this. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, so the history of mineral economics, like I mentioned before, can be traced back 200 years ago when people just started talking about it. And then around the time of World War II is when it was primarily the base of a lot of conversations, because the resources were being depleted, the war effort was going strong. We had ties with different countries, and different countries wanted to help us out, we wanted to help them out. In order to get help with the war effort, we needed more minerals, more steel, more oil, all types of different commodities that we really needed that were just being depleted at the time, and just coming off of the Great Depression and all of that. So it was just a time of need. We had countries helping us out. There was like a Chilean company that was helping us out with some of the copper that we didn't have readily available here at the time, where those sources were depleted and just going lower and lower. So it becomes a hand-in-hand type situation. We help them out, they help us out. Everything's great. So I had mentioned before, we got the scrap. Oil was a big thing at the time, but then that was before a lot of the oil companies started getting monopolies of different oils and all the big name companies. So that's not really as much in the mineral aspect of it as a lot of the metals and things like that. So the difference among minerals and commodities, of course, we have minerals like feldspar, and we have minerals like, I can't think of all of them, but a lot of things that we use to make different things, like the sheetrock we use in our house, even some of the metals are boiled down, shaved down, different things. This is the 2019 version of the mineral commodity summaries. You can take a look at that, and in that you can see it gives you charts of what is readily available here in the United States, and then what we import or export between different countries, things that we use a lot that we may not have here, we get from other countries like China, Japan. We get some things from Mexico. We get every country basically we get things from, and they borrow from us as well. So here you have the metals, the gems, and all the different types of minerals. So the future of mineral economics, I have these pictures up because if we deplete and go through a lot of stuff, it's going to be barren. We're going to have nothing left. And then you also have, if we're able to keep track of our resources, we can have a bountiful amount. If we start recycling programs now, if we start getting in good graces with different countries and governments, that's a big thing. The government has a lot to do with it. But yeah, it's our choice if in the future, if we want it to be nothing or if we want it to be a lot. So up to us consumers and Americans, it's up to us to decide which one we want. So in conclusion, mineral economics is basically the study of how much the commodities are worth, how much they are worth to other countries, and how much they are worth to us. As a lot of research goes into, well, they have an abundance of it, so it should be less, or they have a little bit of it, so it should be a lot higher if we were to sell it or to trade it out. So we can probably trade a little bit of a certain type of mineral that a country really needs for a lot of a different type of mineral that they have an abundance of. So it's not like a gram for a gram, it could be way more. So that's why the studies have to go into all these different types of aspects and scenarios as to what gets done. Now an interesting fact is to know that as long as consuming countries need minerals and commodities to sustain the modern standards of living, as long as mining and mineral processing plays a major role in the economies, there's always going to be a need for mineral economics. And then the history of mineral economics over the past half century shows that the public concerns governing the level of direction and research in mineral economics, as in other fields, are not fixed. So prices and trade aspects can always change. Nothing is ever set in stone. That's not a geology joke. But things are very seldom ever set in stone when it comes to mineral economics. So this is the works cited page.